Okay, I wanted to take a minute to introduce this skeleton map and show you how to use it. This is one of those tools that at first, when you look at it, it's whoa, overwhelming. And so I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to recognize what all of these numbers and symbols mean. Okay, so first off, we are creating human figure wire armatures, or really what they are is just wire skeletons. Okay, so we're creating the underneath of our bodies. And that way later we can dress it up. We can create sculptures out of wax or clay or aluminum foil or felting wool, all different materials. But first we need that foundation, that underneath piece. Okay, so this map is a guide for how to make what I found was the easiest way to make this underneath piece, which is called an armature. So for the armature, first let's look at these red arrows and numbers. In order, we're going to follow. So if you look at 1 to 2 to 3, that shows the flow of how we're going to create the armature. First, we're doing the head piece, then we're moving over to the shoulder, and then down the arm, the right arm, and then up. And then if you see, well, actually, you don't know you move up, but look, 3 ends here, and then you don't see 4 until the middle. So what you have to do is you're at 3, and you've got to go find 4. So you've got to travel back up and over. Now that we're at 4, we go down, look for 5, over the hip, 6, down to the foot. Now 7's not until over here. That means we have to go back up and all the way over to this hip. 8. Now this is a tricky one. 9 isn't until all the way up here. So when you're at step 8, to get back to 9, you have to reverse all the way back here, up the leg, across the hip, up the spine, and now we're at 9 to 10, and the last step is 11. This is a tricky one too. 11's not until up here. That means you have to reverse up the arm, across the shoulder, and finally the finish line up the head. So that's where it stops. So it's just showing the flow of how this one piece of wire, remember we're just using one piece of wire, and how this one piece of wire is going to be wrapped. Okay? Now, and this is all shown, demonstrated in this other video, this that I created. So please be sure to also check out this tutorial that models the creation of the human wire armature. Okay, so then what are all these numbers? These numbers are the units for which to make this human have accurate proportions. Okay, so this Robert Beverly Hale created a measurement system, and for this he determined that 2 units went from the head to the neck. 1 unit was an accurate measurement to go across one shoulder. 4 units down to the fingertips. And so I just created a guide that outlined these units. I did not create the units myself, but I thought it was a nice little cheat sheet, a map, to say, okay, wait, how many units is this? Okay, I need 2 here. I need 1 here. I need 2 here down to the elbow. I need 2 more down to the arm. And it's just a nice guide for how many units each piece of the skeleton system requires. So again, I use this as like a cheat sheet. Remember that even though we're all different shapes and sizes, our basic proportions are very similar. And that's why creating your armature or your skeleton with these proportions will help it to look more accurate. Okay. I also shared some tips in this map on the side using soft wire. I demonstrate that in the video. Remember that the lower the gauge, the thicker the wire, and the higher the gauge, the thinner the wire. So I believe I used a 20 gauge wire. Anything like a 16 or 20 is nice because it's pliable. It's kind of middle of the road. And the aluminum is nice and soft. Measurements, you're going to need a ruler, and I demonstrate that in the video. I demonstrate all the materials you'll need, but the ruler helps keep it precise because we want our proportions to be precise. I use chain nose pliers to make sharp turns. So you really want these right angles in the skeleton to also be sharp in your structure. And so using those pliers, and I demonstrate how that helps. You want to, when you have to reverse, so when we're like at 6 and we need to go to 7, I need to reverse up the leg across the hip. When we reverse, I demonstrate it in the video, but we wrap the wire, and you want to make sure to wrap that wire nice and tightly. And then again, we covered this, but make sure you feel free to, when you're done, you could leave it as wire and just do cool gestures or movements and look at that, or play with that. But you can also go ahead and dress up your sculptures with additive materials. And so have fun with this. I'm excited to see what you create. And remember to check out the video, and the video you can pause and rewind as much as you need. Okay. So have fun, enjoy, and I can't wait to see what